Bishop will be on the front row. Shout out to Macaulay's mum, Kitty, who got in touch via Facebook. Good to hear from you. It is his first ever, well, it's the second ever race in seniors. I still remember in 2019, Kitty, when he did 2 international events back to back. IAMI and Rotax within 2 weeks. They're on the front row. Matthew Higgins and Jamie Pirilli on row 2. Sean Butcher and Lewis Gilbert on row 3. Austin Lee, Ethan Jeff Hall, Jaden Teen, Kai Hillets, Vic Stevens, Mark Kimber, Paul Forquemin, Dion Van Verven, George Holbrook, William Antrobus. Rounding out the top 16, Lauren Ligor. Then we've also got Sverre Ubben, Luke Bate, Magic Chimera, Lucas Schlegel, Montigo Masson, Jack Stedman, Zach Scowler, Tommy van der Stoy, Jade Lawrence. Then we've got Frederick Zevis Christensen, Callum Bradshaw, Mario Sidler, William Pemble, William Christensen, James Johnson, Caden McQueen, Miles Barthorpe, Tyler Harris and Archie Walker, as they are sending them around for another lap. Another lap for the 36 strong drivers. It's also to help a little bit with clearing some of the standing water around the circuit here at PFI. So it will be 14 minutes plus an additional lap of this 1,382 metre circuit. So it all comes down to this seminal moment. Previous champions for Sini Rotax in the Euro Trophy include Hannes Morin, Matilda Olsson, Callum Bradshaw, and last year, Sean Butcher. The way things stand, taking the drop scores into consideration, Mark Kimber has still a 4-point advantage at this stage of the competition. But 14 minutes plus an additional lap to decide what happens in 2023 here at the home of British karting. We'll find out in 15 minutes. Drivers into the tram lines. Are you ready? Are you steady? The lights are out the first time. And Callum Bradshaw, I think, has just gone off the circuit coming out of the final corner. They are treading on eggshells. Oh, bit of a moment there by one of the DHR carts as they go through the Bruno Ferrari S's for the opening time. Matthew Higgins running wide. 2, 3, 4 cars going very, very wide up the banking. Over toward, and we've got a yellow flag heading towards the Litchfield Bridge. Through the banking, there was someone off at the back part of the top part of the banking. Oh, we've got a spinner, one of the KR Sports, and look, there's carts rally crossing over, coming out of turn number 4. This has really put the cat amongst the proverbial pigeons. Everyone has just got to be so careful over the course of this race weekend. This just goes to show how difficult it is as the drivers now making their way around the circuit once again. It's going to be difficult to pick out the numbers, but it's Kai Hunter leading the way. Matthew Higgins looks to be in second position by all accounts. So out of the final corner, 12 minutes and 42 seconds on the timer remains. Kai Hunter leads the way. It's going to be Lewis Gilbert that looks to be in third position. There's Austin Lee. A little bit further back, roundabout in 6th place at this moment. Again, some drivers using the outside line of the banking, coming underneath the bridge through the Bruno Ferrari S's. So 11 minutes still to go. And at this moment, please bear with us whilst I'm just waiting for the timing to update on our screens. So 10.5 minutes still to go. And the top three drivers representing three parts of the United Kingdom. England in first, Wales in second, Scotland in third. That's Kai Hunter, Matthew Higgins and Lewis Gilbert. Sorry, I had to do that on home soil. Sorry about that, but it just goes to show that we now have a little bit of an update. Kai Hunter leads the way, Matthew Higgins in second, Lewis Gilbert. Sean Butcher is in fourth place. Ethan Jeff Hall is fifth. And that's Callum Bradshaw in sixth position. Mark Kimber seventh. Austin Lee in eighth. Paul Forquem in ninth. And Macaulay Bishop, who was on the outside of the front row, is rounding out the top 10. Bearing in mind, the young man from Hoddesdon in Hertfordshire, it's his second ever drive as a senior driver. He's been in juniors for pretty much all this year. He's a Kartmasters Grand Prix winner earlier on this year, as we are now on to 10.5 minutes still to go, plus an additional lap. And it is going to be very much the case that once the rain has settled, and with the fact that the rain is not as significant as it was. Oh, three wheels on the wagon for Archie Walker. That kart is not going anywhere. A real shame for the young man from Billericay, the 391 from KR Sport. That can sometimes happen. That once you have to quickly change your wheels from dry to wet tyres, you can be at the mercy of the elements. So now there has been a change in the lead. Matthew Higgins is first. Lewis Gilbert gets crisscrossed by Kai Hunter going through the second hairpin. That's Callum Bradshaw fourth. Well, right. Where I was just going to say, Sean Butcher was fourth coming across the line. I haven't seen him quite yet, but I'll wait until they come across the start-finish line. As Gilbert dives bombs into the Mike Wilson complex on Kai Hunter. So Matthew Higgins leads, Gilbert second, third is Hunter, who's fourth, Bradshaw, Kimber fifth, Jeff Hall seventh, Austin Lee, well, Jeff Hall is sixth, Sean Butcher's dropped to ninth, Sean Butcher's dropped to ninth position. With just over 8 minutes and 20 to go, if it stays like it is, that's going to make Mark Kimber de facto senior Rotax European champion. So Sean Butcher currently running in ninth position. That's 44 points. Mark Kimber currently in fifth. That's 48. So the drivers still have 7.5 minutes plus an additional lap of this race still to go. So Matthew Higgins looking very, very promising indeed in the lead of the race. There's Macaulay Bishop ahead of Sean Butcher. Now, if he gets past, that's going to be 45 points for Sean Butcher there. So looking at it from this perspective, if Mark Kimber is in 5th place, that's 48 points. Sean Butcher needs to do the following. He needs to finish first. If Kimber stays where he is, it's all over. 6 minutes and 12 seconds still to go. As, oh right, the black flag has come out, and Ethan Jeff Hall has now received it. The 397, last year's junior European Rotax champion, has effectively been told, you are not racing in this, well, you're not racing in the final anymore. So Ethan Jeff Hall, that means that's an exclusion for Ethan Jeff Hall, who is 10th coming into this championship round of the season. Well, I've got a black and white warning flag as well, so we are having some technical difficulties, so he might have had a black and white flag or a black flag. So Ethan Jeff Hall might have seen the digital flag there. So now it's about what happens at the front end of the field, because Matthew Higgins is leading the way. Lewis Gilbert now finds himself in 2nd position. They are treading on eggshells going through into the Mike Wilson complex. They're using the outside line in order to navigate their way around the Mike Wilson complex. It's about getting a premium of traction. When it's wet weather, your traditional racing line goes out the window. And that is very much a matter of fact. So with 4 minutes and 30 seconds plus an additional lap still to go. Higgins leads, Gilbert, Hunter, Bradshaw, Kimber in 5th. Sean Butcher now is up into 7th position. So Sean has got to get a bit further up the order. Oh, Lewis Gilbert trying to thread the eye of the needle through hairpin number 2 on Matthew Higgins, and manages to get the run through. They both give each other enough racing room through the Fullerton S's. And Gilbert now leads the way. So coming down to the final 3.5 minutes, plus an additional lap of this race. Just over a quarter of a second, separating 1st and 2nd position. Oh, Gilbert runs a little bit wide. Higgins takes the same line. They both then bury the throttle to the floor, out of the banking, onto the Litchfield Bridge. And now Sean Butcher finds himself up. Oh, right. Another change. Sean Butcher now up into 6th position, but is 11 seconds away at this moment in time to Mark Kimber. And it still is a 4-point advantage to Kimber at the moment in the lead of the championship. And there is Kai Hunter just behind Callum Bradshaw. Well, he was for a minute. Bradshaw gets the cut back and gets back through. So Gilbert now starting to pull away from Matthew Higgins. Callum Bradshaw now up into 3rd position ahead of Kai Hunter. Mark Kimber in 5th, and then it's a very, very long wait until 6th comes across the line, which happens now. Sean Butcher still running around about, well, he's over 11.5 seconds behind. So into the last 90 seconds, plus an additional lap of this racing season. And Lewis Gilbert looks to end it on a strong note. The pride of Scotland from Dalry in Ayrshire. His granddad Willie has been here, had a catch up with him earlier on this weekend. As the drivers now will be at a snail's pace, probably the best part of 15 to 20 seconds off the lightning pace of around 50, the high 56s, the low 57s earlier on today before the rain came down and the heavens opened. But Lewis Gilbert now leads by 1.6 seconds ahead of Matthew Higgins. Mark Kimber doing exactly what he needs to do. Anyone remember in the battle for the Euro Trophy Championship last year, Sean Butcher had done enough, opted to do the starting and the sighting and formation lap, and then pulled the kart into the pits, and then using that as a drop score. It's all about the game of percentages when it goes to going for a title sometimes, but consistency is your best friend. 5 seconds to go on the timer as Lewis Gilbert goes out of the exit of the Fullerton S's. That's it. Time is up. The last lap board will very shortly be shown to Scotland's finest. The 3:29 of Lewis Gilbert. He makes his way into the Mike Wilson complex for what will be the penultimate time. Last lap board of the season for Senior Rotax is underway right now. So Scotland's Lewis Gilbert, one of the many that have joined the growing team at Killian Craft, at Craft Motorsport. Killian has been an absolute trooper, making sure that he gets some from the United Kingdom into the team, and has done so with great chagrin, and has also showcased speed, performance and results. And Lewis Gilbert is just a handful of corners away from claiming the final race win of the season. Gilbert's best results was actually earlier on today in the heats, as Callum Bradshaw has a little bit of a moment there himself. And Sean Butcher making his way towards the final hairpin. But it is all going to be the case that when things were all said and done, after what will be 12 laps of racing, the double checkered will wave, thanks to our flag marshal Ryan, it waves for the pride of Scotland. Lewis Gilbert wins at PFI. Second place is going to be Matthew Higgins as Callum Bradshaw ran wide coming out of the final corner. Fourth, it's Kai Hunter, and provisionally by just 4 points, as we now see the man who's battled all season long, Sean Butcher takes 6, but in 5th position by my approximate calculations by 4 points. The title of Senior Rotax European Champion not only returns to Strawberry Racing, but your new Euro Trophy Senior Rotax Champion, Mark Kimber. Lewis Gilbert takes the victory ahead of Matthew Higgins. Callum Bradshaw rounds out the top 3 on his return to international competition. More than likely a one-off. Ahead of Kai Hunter, Mark Kimber, Sean Butcher, Tommy van der Stoys, Austin Lee, Caden McQueen, Paul Forquemin rounding out the top 10. Jaden Teen takes 11th. Macaulay Bishop in his second ever race weekend as a senior takes 12th. Kai Rillerts takes 13th position, which gives the young man from Belgium 40 points, putting him on 477. could secure him third in the championship, but those details have yet to be fully ratified and confirmed. William Antrobus, Jack Stedman, Monty Gomasson, Lauren Ligot, Vic Stevens, Tyler Harris, William Christensen. Ran at your top 20. Dion Van Verven, Jane Lawrence, Sverre Ubben, William Pemble, Luke Bate, Frederick Zebis Christensen, Zach Scowler, Mario Sidler, Magic Himera, and Lucas Schlegel rounding out the 30 that finished all 12 laps. Along the way, we lost the man that unfortunately ended up with 3 wheels on his wagon, Archie Walker, on lap 2. George Holbrook out on the very same lap. Jamie Pirilli on lap 4. Ethan Jeff Hall getting the black flag and was out after lap 5. And Miles Barthorpe finishing 31st, but unfortunately with 7 laps completed to his tally.